Okay, we're live. We're live. Okay. So, I am sorry. YouTube, first of all, giving you the awkward silence. Sorry. I like starting YouTube and Facebook at the same time. Um, had to wait for Facebook. But anyway, sorry. First of all, sorry I'm 3 minutes late. I was on time. I kind of chose. So, okay, every half season, I change my thumbnail for the live stream. And because we're in a new arc, I had to change the thumbnail. I changed it to a Once Upon a Time poster that I thought was perfect. But when I looked at the past couple times, for the Neverland arc, I did the season 3 poster, that represents the whole season. And then I did the one, for Once Upon a Time Wonderland, I did the Once Upon a Time Wonderland poster. So I know I usually do things that relate to the arc. I mean, the Evil Queen's Red Apple really didn't relate to Peter Pan, but it was the season 3 poster. So, you know what I mean. Whether it's the poster itself or it relates to the arc, I usually try to stick with that. My Once Upon a Time poster that was so perfect for this thumbnail did not relate to the Wicked arc, and so the Oz arc. So anyway, spoiler alert, we're going to Oz. Anyway, it didn't match pretty well. So at the last minute, I was ready to go live. It was 6:47. I'm like, well, I just got to sit in my chair for 3 minutes. I ended up being like, okay, around 6:48, I'm like, okay, no, I want to change the thumbnail, and I couldn't decide which Wicked poster to use, and so that's what caused me to be late. I finally decided at 6:52 which poster I wanted to use, but then instead of being 2 minutes late, my live stream started having issues and said that it won't go live because there's problems. So I had to refresh the page. Luckily, all my changes were saved. So after refreshing the page, I just had to push go live again, but it took a while for it to refresh. So that's why I didn't start till 6:53. So there's the 3 minute explanation of why I'm late. Then obviously when I start YouTube, I'm usually silent because I hate to repeat my introduction twice. I hate to repeat, hey, welcome to our Once Upon a Time marathon. We're going to watch season 3 episodes 12, 13, and the Once Upon a Time special. I hate repeating that twice, so I usually like to wait until I start Facebook, and then I can talk to both audiences at once. So anyway, so hello everybody. We've already are 2 minutes into this live stream, and I had to explain all that. How was everyone's general conference? I hope you all had fun. Not everyone's watching is probably a member of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, so maybe it was just a normal weekend for you. But it was an interesting general conference. We haven't had a general conference where there was no prophet before. So that was interesting. 75 years since the last time they did that. So yeah. I hope regardless, I hope you had a great weekend, and I can't wait to start Once Upon a Time. Speaking of Once Upon a Time, let me get it ready. I don't actually have it ready. I'm so sorry. Well, you see, the thing is, as Sundays in the past, I was rushing home from a Larson gathering, got home early enough to set up my live stream. Right? I always forget to pull up Disney Plus. I think after I pull up YouTube and Facebook, I'm done. But I need Disney Plus pulled up. That's how I watch the show. And then I normally don't forget this, but I was looking for my headphones. As I was setting up the live stream, and I couldn't find them. And they're right here. So I was planning to plug them in, like before I changed the thumbnail when it was like 6:47. I'm like, where's my headphones? I can't find them. Oh well, I'll just wait here and then change the thumbnail. So anyway, I was actually looking for my headphones right before I decided to change the thumbnail. So the half season arcs don't last for the rest of the show though. So that one poster I was talking about, I may just use it for when we're done with the half season arcs. Because remember, season 1 and 2 weren't half season arcs, And what I did for those was that I showed all the season posters as the thumbnail, and I kind of spoiled the whole show for some of you who are watching it for the first time. I kind of spoiled the whole show by putting that thumbnail on there. So I'm sorry about that. You probably already saw the Wicked Witch poster. You probably knew we were going to get the Wicked Witch in the show eventually. So anyway, you probably saw Frozen Apple, Black Apple, which you don't know what that means. So that's good. Frozen kind of gives it away. And then I guess there is that last season poster of Cinderella, but you're probably confused because we already have a Cinderella and she's nothing like the poster you see on my thumbnails. But anyway, I'm not gonna spoil you an explanation for that. I'm just sorry I did that at first. At least now, ever since season 3, I've been doing posters that only represented the season. The red apple did not spoil the Peter Pan arc for you. Once Upon a Time Wonderland didn't spoil really anything, other than Wonderland. But everyone, even back when it was on the air, knew it was a Wonderland show because that's in the title itself. So I mean, once now that we're done with Once Upon a Time Wonderland, we're going back into Once Upon a Time. And yes, I'm sorry to say, I'm doing a thumbnail that spoils the arc, but you're gonna find out pretty quickly that our half season villain is gonna be the Wicked Witch. She gets revealed within the first episode even. So anyway, well, not the first episode we watched though, because we're gonna watch a recap special. It's been a while since we watched the original show. So we need a recap to remind ourselves what happened before we switched to Wonderland. So we're gonna watch a recap episode first, but the first episode of the actual show will reveal our villain for us. So, by the end of tonight, the thumbnail's not going to be a spoiler. So that just goes to what I'm saying. The posters, the thumbnails I'm using now are not spoiling; they're spoiler free. Because either you're gonna find out within the moment of within the moment we start the arc what it's gonna be about, and then also you probably maybe it has nothing to do with the arc itself, but it's the arc poster. So anyway, whether it's a poster that's supposed to represent the half season or whether it does give it away, it doesn't spoil as much or bad as what happened in season 1 and 2, because the season what I was using as my thumbnails in season 1 and 2 spoil almost the whole show for you. So anyway, now as I said, the one I do have I did find a Once Upon a Time poster, and I was going to use it for our Wicked arc, but I want to do something that was more Wicked like. So I'll save that poster for when we're done. These half season arcs go all the way through season 5. So the fact we're doing the second half season 3, we still have 2 more seasons and 4 more arcs to get through. But once we get to season 6, I might use that poster, because that poster does not spoil anything about the show. It just has pictures of characters. And so anyway, it's a great poster. I can't wait to use it. I'll probably, instead of using all the season posters again when we're done with these half season arcs, I'll probably just use that poster. All right. Sorry, I'm just repeating myself. I'm trying to fill up time. It is 7 o'clock now, so I'm afraid we do have to get started. But yeah, we started 3 minutes late, so I'll wait 3 more minutes. But enough about thumbnails. Enough about why I'm late. Sorry, I'm late. Isn't that the Evil Queen's line? Sorry, I'm late. Do 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 do. I'm the Evil Queen, am I? I'm a lot like the Evil Queen because I'm always late. Oh, and we got to pull up YouTube because we're gonna watch this episode that's not on Disney Plus or Hulu. So pull up YouTube. This episode's free. You should have no problem watching it. Oh, not on this, not here. Can't watch it here. I was on the wrong thing. We're gonna watch a special to help us catch up on the show a little bit. Okay. I know I kind of made a post about, Rumpel sacrificing his life, dying, Peter Pan, before his death, the curse that sent everyone back to the Enchanted Forest. That probably rings a bell, but there's a little bit more to it that we need to remind ourselves, for. So we're going to watch this recap special. Let's see here. Where is it? Okay. So there's 3 links. I can put them in the chat if you like. Let me copy the links here. Dune. Okay, there's 3 ways you can watch the show. There's a website called Daily Motions that offers the episode for free, and they don't ask for anything. You just watch the episode, so it is safe. You don't have to give up personal information to watch it. It is free. It's on dailymotions.com. I'll send you the link. The other place to watch it is that, okay, when I record anything Once Upon a Time related on YouTube, it blocks the video version. It only gives me the audio, which is why when we watched the Neverland Arc, you had to watch the audio version of it, because it only gave me the audio. But what's funny about this one, the Wicked is Coming special, is that because it's not just on YouTube, it's on Daily Motions, I was able to record the whole thing with video, wise, and then, without copyright protection on it, upload it to YouTube. And so if you were to ask me like months ago or years ago, the only way to watch it would be on dailymotions.com. But I got away with uploading the episode from Daily Motions, download it from Daily Motions onto YouTube without copyright notice from either ABC or Daily Motions. So, I mean, that is risky business, and I shouldn't try doing that. But I didn't get copyright for it. So I have the episode free on my channel, the whole entire thing, and you can watch it for free on my YouTube channel. I'll send you the link to the Daily Motions version, and I'll send you the link to my, um, you know, uh, YouTube version, and then obviously the episode, is also does also cost money on YouTube. So. But no one wants to buy it, right? You want to watch the free version if that option's available. So, I probably don't need to send you the bot version link, do I? I don't think so. I'm not on the right page, am I? Hang on. I was like, I can't find the links. I know I put them on Facebook somewhere, and then they're not on here. Let me see. We got to get started at 7:04. I wanted to start at 7:03. Okay, hang on. Here are the links. I'll just send you the link to the bot version, because I just don't want to go through all that work of copy and pasting each link. I want to do all three at once. Um, okay. Okay. Each one has a title next to it. My YouTube free version is probably the one you want to click on. The next best option is my free version on website, and it's dailymotions.com. And then there's this, and then the middle link I put the paid version, so you know which link is which. Okay. All right, I'm gonna put it in the chat, and then we're gonna get started. So here are the links to the episodes. Here is the link to the first episode that we are watching. Okay. Now let me do it on YouTube, and then we'll get started. Control V. Can I push enter? Remember to guard your privacy. Yes, I know. Okay. It says I am okay. Unfortunately, my message is too big for YouTube. So here's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to go back to Facebook. I hate doing this, but I'll do one link at a time. Control copy. Control V. Okay. There's one link. Let's see if I could do the other two at once, because it looked like I was almost able to send all three. It's just it was a little bit too much of a long message. Let's try this. There we go. And then one more thing. Just so I don't have to retype it. Where's my Facebook live stream? I'm going to copy this. Copy. And paste. Whoops. Dang it, I pushed the wrong button. Dang it! I pushed the wrong button! Now it thinks I want to print! Okay, whoops, I meant to click V, not P. So here's the link to the first episode that we are going to watch, which is pretty much right now. Your connection is unstable. Please wait a while. Uh-oh. My connection's unstable, so YouTube may shut down. If it does, Facebook is usually good at staying on even without Wi-Fi. So YouTube, for anyone who are going to probably watch on YouTube, it might shut down. So don't worry. I'll just download the Facebook version and put it on YouTube later as a video instead of a live stream. So okay. Hopefully I won't have to do that, because so far right now it's not being shut down. I hate when that happens. But we got to get started because it's like 7:10. And yeah. And we are already starting way late. Okay. Okay, now that the links are sent, you should have the special. We're gonna watch this recap together, and then we'll go, and then make sure you still have Disney Plus pulled up, because just like last week with when we were finishing Once Upon a Time Wonderland, we also started a little bit behind. And even though we're only doing 3 episodes tonight, um, I still like to be like 10 o'clock last week. I still want to be done by 9:30, and so and give us enough time to talk at the end for 15 minutes of Q&A. So just to kind of catch up on time, I'm probably not going to talk in between episodes. So make sure you do have Disney Plus pulled up. I know I do. With the next episode ready, being season 3, episode 12. Do not push episode 12 though. We're gonna watch the YouTube episode first. But once we're done with the YouTube episode, be ready to push episode 12. Okay. Um, the only time I'm gonna stop is to tell you what the timestamp is when we get to that episode. So don't worry about pushing it and pausing it. Just have it ready to push play for when we're done with the episode. On that note, it is time to get started. All right. Alrighty, here we go. Okay. Um, sorry. I went as far as to I have a playlist of all the Once Upon a Time specials, and I went as far as to my playlist before I got distracted with the links. So anyway, let me just find it. It's only a playlist of 9 episodes. It's not hard to find. I had to click on the playlist, and here it is. So okay, now I'm ready. I'm gonna push it. I'm gonna pause it. Timestamp for this episode, if you're watching the YouTube version, it's 42 minutes and 5 seconds. My free version copy on my channel is 42 minutes. I bought this with my money, so I'm watching the one I bought. Don't do that. Watch the free version. Because I'm only not doing that because I already bought it. So I'm better make use of my money by watching the bought version. But don't waste your money. There's a free version. Click the free version link. Your free version should say 42 minutes and 5 seconds or 6 seconds, and mine's 42 minutes and 5 seconds. It's only 1 second difference, so I don't think we're going to be too off sync. 1 second's not going to make much of a difference. But if you're watching the Daily Motions version, they do pause. They do have a longer, black pauses in the middle of the episode. So their version is 42 minutes and 30 seconds. So I don't know what to tell you there, but you're not going to be synced with my commentary if you use the Daily Motion version. So I probably should have just sent you the link to the YouTube free version that's on my channel. So anyway, sorry. Don't do the Daily Motions. Do the YouTube version. So anyway, 42 minutes and 5 seconds. Is everyone ready to start? We're going to start. It's for 7-Eleven. Funny. 7-Eleven. Get it? It's actually 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven. The Slurshee place. 7-Eleven on the clock. Okay, let's get started. So yeah, timestamp at 0, 42 minutes and 5 seconds. All right. I pushed play before I did a countdown. Okay. Here we go. Are you ready, everyone? Okay. Headphones in. 3, 2, 1, now. This is our first time meeting the cast. Neverland, we only got to talk with the writers. Season 2, we only got to talk with the writers and Cine Glass, who plays the mirror. So, and King George. We've only heard their voices though. We've never met a single oh, there's Neil. We never met a single actor until now. So now this is the first special. We finally get to meet the actors of the show. Happy endings can sometimes turn wicked. ABC's narrating and hosting this special right now, and Wicked always wins. Wicked is coming, guys. Just met our Wicked Witch. Everyone who watched the show live got to see her in a promotional commercial and this before the actual reveal in the episode. So it's not really a spoiler. You're supposed to be spoiled at this for watching this on the first time. So their most recent. Mhm. So yeah, if you just heard all that, anything's anything's possible if you hold on to hope. Yep. So if you didn't just hit, you just missed all that. our- We're going back in time to the pilot. But okay, okay. But remember, our most recent journey was to Neverland. We went to go save Henry from Peter Pan, but he found his own way to Storybrooke and cast the Queen's Curse, sending everyone back to the Enchanted Forest and leaving Emma and Henry to live alone in the real world. Did you get all that? Now we're back to recapping the pilot. It is incredible. Meet Jennifer Goodwin, who plays Snow White. Meet Lana Parrilla, who plays Regina the Evil Queen. Yep, she plays a great evil queen. Colin O'Donoghue, who plays Captain Hook. He didn't show up until season 2. I remember that. Josh Dallas, who plays Prince Charming. Meet Robert Carlyle, who plays Rumpelstiltskin. I mean, you can kind of tell by their faces who they are, but I'm just letting you know. Meet Michael Raymond Jones, who plays Neil Cassidy or Bellfire, Henry's father, Rumpel's son. Yeah. It is the first story I heard. Not really. I actually watched a lot of Thomas the Train and Polar Express, but Fairy Tales was after that. And then I got addicted to Disney until Once Upon a Time came along. Adam and Edward, the creators of the show. The first Disney movie they ever saw was Snow White, and they got scared to death. Not me. I loved Snow White. It was one of my favorites. My first Disney. Oh yeah, it's Robert Carlyle, Rumpelstiltskin. It's his first show, first fairy tale he's ever seen is Snow White. Okay, now we have a different opinion. Regina's first favorite was Hansel and Gretel. Okay, that's not a Disney movie though. But favorite fairy tale. I get it. My first fairy tale movie I've seen was Beauty and the Beast. Not Snow White, sadly, but Beauty and the Beast, which is also in the show. Wow, and Jennifer Goodwin's favorite princess is Snow White. Everyone is pretty. everyone's opinion on their first movie they ever saw was is Snow White, with the exception of Hansel and Gretel for Regina, and Hook's favorite, and then Hook's first movie he's ever seen is Peter Pan, and he loved Captain Hook. So, what a coincidence! He got the role. Got Snow White, her favorite princess. Yep, Beauty and the Beast was my first one and my first favorite. What is a happy ending? Yeah, well, winning the lottery isn't that easy though. Wicked is coming, guys. We are only 7 minutes into this episode. Fairy tales do come in all sizes. True. What if? Yeah, Once Upon a Time is all about what if. Oh, I forgot to introduce Emily D. Raven, who plays Belle. She's in this special too. I think that's everybody. I said the main six: Rumpel, Hook, Regina, Snow White, Charming Emma, and then additionally Neil, Cassidy, and Belle. Don't think we're missing anybody else. Hmm. There's a lot of what ifs in this show. Yeah, what if the evil queen had her happy ending? That's what the show's about. Yep, Regina wasn't always evil. We never saw. Yeah, I love that episode too because we never got to see innocent Regina until that point. Yep, Snow White looked up to her, and she turned evil. Unfortunately. So Jennifer Goodwin and Lana Parrilla, Evil Queen Snow White, both cried watching this episode. This special is when I started learning their names. So I encourage you to start memorizing these actors' names, not the characters. Yes, Once Upon a Time is good at mashing up fairy tales together. That's what made me fall in love with it when I was a child. Got tired of switching my favorite Disney movie. It's nice that they're all in one show. Yeah, like Adam and Edward just said, they stole characters off Walt Disney's shelf and just played with them their own way. Yeah, Emily DeRaven's like, wow, that never happened to me. Regina loved playing. Lana loved playing Ursula for one episode and or a few, earlier in the season. Beast. Yeah, Rumple and Belle, the ultimate story of Beauty and the Beast. But Rumple's also the crocodile in Peter Pan, and he's also Rumpelstiltskin himself. He plays a lot of fairy tales, not just the Beast. I like Belle's dress. We haven't seen it since season one. She is so scared. The actor portrays Belle really good. Belle's supposed to be so scared of Rumple that when she breaks a cup, she still worries what he's gonna do to her, even if the cup doesn't matter to him. Does now. It reminds him of Belle, but not back when not back when they first met. Yes, there's so many versions of Peter Pan, and Hook looks different in every single one. He doesn't have a red hat or red suit like the cartoon Pan. He wears black in this version. Yes. Yep, has a lot of Rumple has a lot of characters within Rumpelstiltskin. He has to keep track how how Rumple's supposed to act each time they do an episode or flashback. They're heavily talking a lot about Beauty and the Beast in this recap. Yeah, to fall in love or find love, I guess, same thing. Yeah, you can't just easily get a happy ending. You have to earn it. Regina's working very hard to earn hers. We've seen her redemption arc, and then I guess we kind of saw Rumple, but you're gonna be so disappointed when that redemption that he did when he killed Pan goes down the toilet. Not spoiling, but just prepare yourself. You're gonna hate the character later on. Not Regina though. She has a great character arc. Rumple's just repetitive. They like throwing his every time when Rumple redeems himself, they throw it down the toilet. I'm sorry for saying that, but it is true. Wicked is coming again. It keeps showing the title every 7 minutes. That tells you that's when they would go to commercial breaks if you were watching it live. We're not doing commercial breaks in my marathon. No, thank you. I remember this. Yes. Speaking of which, we're just a holiday away from Thanksgiving, and that dinner is going to suck on our marathon. For anyone who's going to watch our show on Thanksgiving, I would want you to be there for the viewers, for the viewer numbers, but I was going to say don't bother because it's hard to keep track of this family on the show. Can't have Thanksgiving dinner when you don't know who you're related to. They're trying to explain all how everyone's related right now. It's a family show. It's too confusing. Not for me. I could probably handle it, but you have to be uh you have to be what is it? You have to be a once upon a time freak in order to understand all the fairy tales and their connections. Not the word I was looking for, but yeah. Regina is not just Henry's mother; it's Henry's step great grandmother. Yep, great grandmother. That was the most recent connection, family connection. It is. It is a family show. It's even the actors can't put it together. We're just in it for for their money and pay job. Luckily, it surprises audience and it has a good fan base despite its confusions. Rumble did not kill Henry. That was a nightmare. Remember, Dancing in the Dark. How's that a title for this discussion? Dark. Snow Gray. Remember when Regina pulled her heart out and Snow White found out that her heart started to blacken since she killed Cora? Yeah. Snow White made some sins. She killed the evil queen's mama. Yeah. Peter Pan was just our most recent family connection. Besides Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, because that's a whole different show. That was the most recent in this show. Is He is kind of good and bad. Mostly bad in flashbacks, but in the present day. Rumple is always mean. You may not think so, but you will realize it. I mean, no, he's good. He's good at times, but I'm not gonna say more about that. Yeah, Rumple is pretty mean. They could have kept him dead. That was a perfect redemption arc for him when he killed Pan. They should have kept him dead. Even though he's a great actor and we need Rumple to stay on the show. Should have just kept him dead or saved this redemption arc, Pan arc for the end or something. End of the show. Lana loves her episode of not regretting her sins when they're yeah. Remember Snow and Charming were about to execute her at one point. I regret not being able to kill Snow White. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Anytime Snow and Regina are about to kill each other, they back off. Dash hearted. Yeah. It's weird. Holding a heart. So guys, if you want to know how it's done, actors put the little nice little red rubbery thing under their armpit, and when they film it, they um they make it look like you're pulling your heart out when you're really just pulling a plastic thing out of your armpit. That's how they make the delusion of pulling your heart out. That's how they make the delusion of pulling your heart out in the show. There's a little behind the magic. I hope that didn't ruin the show for you, but that's how they do it. Yeah. For some other adults on here, they can't pull their hearts out in real life. You got to know how they do it, right? You probably figured. As I was talking, the writers were talking about how a heart can either be crushed or it can control the person. So, it can only do one of two things. Either yeah. So guys, so now they're saying this. Would you rather have your heart ripped out and crushed or your shadow? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So the answer to that is that they both suck. But if you had to choose between the shadow and the shadow is a little more painful because the pain continues after the shadow is ripped. But with a heart, it just stings for like a second, like a quick band-aid rip off. And it's probably a less painful way to die. It's painful, but less painful than ripping your shadow out. So yes, just get your heart pulled out. That's probably the best option. Go with the heart. Mhm. Snow Gray. I hate when I get earwax in my headphones. Wicked is coming. We're halfway through the episode. Got it all out. Finding hope, huh? You can have hope. You gotta enjoy it. Mhm. There's always hope. Pilot episode. Yep. Yep. We all hope for the best in life, as Jennifer Morrison said. Emma Swan. We all hope to be happy. Hope is the center of the show. And the end of it, the morals you hopefully get from it is hope, faith, and belief, which are some Christ-like attributes. A woman. Remember how Snow White and Charming met? That's gonna come back into play later in this season. I'm not gonna really spoil. Then yes, they're gonna show the flashback again. There's a reason why they're gonna show the flashback again. There's a reason. I'm not gonna spoil. But they're gonna show this flashback's gonna come back later in the season. Snow and Charming are like the perfect couple. In fact, they got married in real life. Consider how perfect their relationship was in the show. They got married in real life. I really want them to get married in the temple. These two deserve to be together forever. And it's because of Once Upon a Time. Yeah, there's not been a lot of ball gown wearing. Most of the women on this show have warrior costumes like Mulan because they're good at fight. They're good at fighting for themselves instead of having a prince rescue them and damsel in distress. You don't have damsel in distresses on the show. Every girl fights for herself. Hook has a lot of outfits. Uh huh. Hmm. The evil queen. The queen died when Snow White was responsible for her fiance's death. She became the evil queen because Snow White couldn't keep a secret. Regina has a lot of costumes. She has probably the biggest wardrobe in the whole show. You'll have to tell me what your favorite Regina costume is. Eh, I wish I could say in the comments, but I don't get really any comments. So you should tell me what your favorite costume is. There's been so many. Hmm. Epicness, is that a word? How can I let Prince Charming die? And we all know it's not James. It's David covering for his brother. This was before the Wonderland show. This was the one of the last episodes we watched before we left the series, and that was when Charming gave the moment speech to Emma. You got to look for the small moments in life and not worry about the what's the next villain, what's the next conflict. Focus on the moments because you never know how long they're gonna last. Exactly what Snow White is saying. Even if it's not the evil queen anymore, it's always going to be someone else. So you might as well enjoy the moments while you can before the next villain or crisis comes to town. Because once upon a time never ends. Yeah. Make the best of your moments because you never know what's going to happen 5 minutes in the show from now, right? Wicked is coming. I said that 4 times now. Wonderland, we were just there, but in a different show. But Wonderland was in this show. Remember when the Evil Queen and Jefferson, the Mad Hatter, went to go get Regina's father from Wonderland once? We saw Wonderland a couple times, but we didn't see a lot of it until we watched that Wonderland show a while back. Hmm. Yep. Out of all the worlds we've seen, Wonderland, Enchant Forest, Neverland, only one runs on imagination, and that's Neverland. I guess I already said that. Neverland was our last place we went to in this show. May not have been the last place overall. We were in Wonderland the last week, but this was the last. Neverland was the last arc for this show that we were in before we jumped into a spin-off. Exactly. Neverland, you don't grow up, so you don't have a future. You just have a past and a present. Yeah. That was the biggest plot twist of the whole show, in my opinion. When we found out Peter Pan was Rumple's father, yeah, I hope your jaws dropped watching that because that was the biggest plot twist. Henry has the heart of the truest believer. Don't forget that. That's going to come into play in later arcs. There are things that get forgotten in the show because what's the word I'm trying to say? It's very convoluted with a bunch of characters, but there are some things these actors are or writers are very good at remembering, and one of the things they did not forget about was Henry's heart of the truest believer thing. So keep that in mind because that comes into play for the rest of the series every once in a while. The Avengers. When we were watching the Neverland arc, I didn't want to say it because I wanted Snow White to reveal that to you right now. When they were doing the Neverland arc, the actors secretly called themselves the Avengers. It wasn't an audience popularity thing. Only they did it. They were pretty much the Avengers of the Avengers. So if you watched Avengers and you like superheroes, Iron Man, Hawk, and Captain America, well, these are the fairy tale versions of those. You got Emma, Charming, Hook, Regina, Rumple. Those are like the Avengers or the Avengers. No, Avengers because they're in Neverland, but Avengers. We missed it all. I remember that. I'm glad that was in this recap special. That was pretty emotional, and it's hitting me again. Snow White missed out on her child. Imagine missing out on your child. That probably would have been hard. And yeah, Charming was gonna die in Neverland. Remember that? We thought we were gonna lose a main character here. I knew we weren't because I seen the whole show. But you know, for anyone who's watching this for the first time and listening to my commentary, um, you probably thought Charming was gonna die. Emma and Hook. Emma and Hook had their first kiss in Neverland too. which kind of causes a love triangle with Neil. But don't worry, that love triangle won't last. And again, a spoiler I won't get into until next week. Love triangle will end by next week. That's all I'm gonna say. How's it gonna end? I won't tell you. You'd be disappointed anyway. Save your disappointment. This is a good Sunday, okay? Let's save your disappointment next week because it's been general conference, and I hate to ruin your general conference weekend at the last minute. So, if you want to, what happens to Neil, I'm not telling you. You wait until next week. If you know, you know. Hate to cause you some more sorrow after the prophet's death in Michigan and stuff. You don't need I don't need to make it worse by telling you, something that's going to happen in this show next week. We won't get to it today, but it's an episode that I know we will get to next week. Hmm. We're way past this, but before I got off, before I got distracted, Snow White, missed Emma growing up, so only time will tell before we see them have another baby. We're probably gonna see them have another baby, guys. There's a year gap. Have you ever thought that maybe they got pregnant during that year jump? Yep. Emma was Emma can't think of a love triangle. She's too busy on saving Henry. Who do you think Emma should be with? Neil, her ex-husband, that she that she got that she's obviously not with him anymore because he left her in jail, or is it Hook? Okay, there's a more simple way to say that. Who do you think who do you think Emma should be with? Hook um or Henry's father? Hook or Henry's father? Your choice. Choose wisely. Choose wisely on your shipping. If you ship the wrong couple, you're going to be disappointed for the rest of the show. Like I said, this love triangle doesn't really last. Once they got back to Neverland, it's only like a couple episodes, and as we're starting the Oz arc, that love triangle almost doesn't exist anymore. You'll see what I'm talking about. It won't be in the first couple episodes of this arc, but um, we'll see it next week. Yeah, Pan was stopped. Henry was saved. They all went back to Storybrooke last time we watched this show, right? I was gonna say I wish I could say the last time we watched Once Upon a Time, which is true, but not the last time we went. Not the last time we had our marathon. This is not what happened last week. But Once Upon a Wonderland, it's its own separate show, which is why I'm saying the last time we watched this. I miss watching this show. I'm glad we got finished with Wonderland last week. Wicked is coming. Haha. Let me see how much time is left. There's only 7 minutes, so that must have been the last commercial break when this aired. We're almost done, guys. We're on the last minutes. We're only moments away from starting the second half, season 3. Hmm. Yep. Hope and faith are the most important principles that you should gain up in this show. They gave Regina credit so she wouldn't feel left out like she did in season 2. It's not about the prince saving the day. It's not about the happy ending. It's about finding home. Fortunately, Pan and Henry switched bodies, remember? When they went back to Storybrooke? And by the time they got their bodies back, it was already too late. Pan cast his curse. Yep. Rumple's if Rumple's gonna defeat Pan, he's probably not gonna survive. We all know that. We all know he died. Mhm. Remember how sad you felt when you saw Rumple die? Don't you miss him? I know I already said he's coming back on the show, but you know, if I wasn't if you weren't listening to my commentary and you're watching this for the first time, you'd probably be very sad right now, right? Because the last time we watched this show before we jumped down the rabbit hole, Rumple died. Mhm. Yeah. Rumple left the world knowing that everyone loved him. Yeah. Like I said, even though Pan was killed, his curse was already cast, which brought new set of consequences. So defeating Pan didn't mean live at peace, happy ending for everyone. It was worse because he already cast his curse when he was in Henry's body. So it gets worse. Remember how sad you were when Rumple died, and then to only find out that Regina has to let her son go and go back to the Enchanted Forest while Emma and Henry have to live a lonely life in New York. That's so sad. Everyone left town. It was almost like a series finale. Anything's possible. Bad can become good. Good isn't all that it seems to be. Everyone deserves a happy ending. No matter what they do or what they have been done, they can repent. This was this is sad. Yep, there's a moral. There's a special gospel message in every episode we watch. Regina's redemption arc has fully came full circle. She could have chose to be evil and be like, "No, Henry's mine. I'm gonna keep him. I'm not gonna stop this curse." But because she repented and became redeemed, she was willing to sacrifice her happy ending to save everyone else's by going to back taking everyone back when by taking everyone back to the Enchant Forest. She was willing to give up Henry to do that. That's hard for a mother to do. Give up their child to save a town. That's rough. Leaving Emma and Henry behind, that was probably the saddest part of the episode. This was like, well, you're like wondering, this is like a series finale. Like, felt like the end of the show when we watched it, and then of course there was the 1 year cliffhanger. Yeah, the real challenge is not to get a happy ending, but once you have it, what do you do with it? And can you really stay happy? Did you hear what Adam and Eddie said? The first half was about Neverland and belief, and the second half's gonna be is gonna explore what home means in Oz. Like there's no place like home, as Dorothy always says. So anyway, and and the overall message of season 3 is that anything is possible if you just hold on to hope. So keep that in mind. The first half we focused on belief. Now we're gonna focus on what home means. Season 3 was this. Now you could probably see why I wanted to stop watching the show halfway through the season, because season 3 is supposed to feel like two different seasons. The first half is like one season, and the second half is like another. And that's why I wanted to watch Once Upon a Time in Wonderland in between to kind of separate the two halves from each other. If it weren't for the spin-off show, I wouldn't do that. But remember, 1 year later, this could have been the end, but it's not. 1 year later, Hook shows up with an explanation that everyone has been transported back to Storybrooke and they need Emma to break the curse. So the story continues. It's not over. We're not even close to a series finale. This is 7 seasons long, and if we're only in the third, don't let this episode fool you. It's not over. Yep, and of course, Emma, because she lost her memories and doesn't remember Fairy Tale Land, she doesn't believe Hook. She thinks Hook is a nut job. He should go in a sane asylum, and refuses his offer to go to Storybrooke. Shuts the door and was like, "Henry, let's get back to eating." So we're back to season 1 again. We have to get Emma to believe in magic, and then take her back to Storybrooke to break another curse. Anyway, that's the end of that episode. Okay. Better stop it. Stop. Stop. Okay. Okay, that's the end of that episode. Like I said, we're not going to talk too much in between. We're going to start the next episode. So I hope that was a good recap. That kind of, I know I probably talked a little too much during it, but if you want to watch the episode without my commentary, you can. I hope I hope that gave you a good idea of what happened, because I know it's been like over a month since we last watched this show. We were too focused on the spin-off series Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. Now that that show's over, we're back into this show. So I know in the past when we watched recap specials, you really didn't need them, but I think this one was kind of important for us because it's been over a month and it's good to have a refresher. So now that you're all caught up, are you ready to find out what happens next? Okay, let's push the episode. You're right. I said I wasn't going to talk in between, and I just did. Okay. So the timestamp. I'm just about to tell you what it is. So if you have your Disney Plus version, okay, and now we're done with the recap. This episode is on Disney Plus, so I shouldn't have to show you a link. I told you to pull up the Disney Plus. Told you to pull up your Disney Plus before we watched the Once Upon a Time special, so then that way you could be ready once the special was over. So everyone should have had their Disney Plus open. If you didn't listen to me before, then I'm sorry, you're gonna have to pause the live stream. But we're gonna start the episode. Okay. Timestamp 44 minutes and 3 seconds. That's my Disney Plus timestamp. If you're watching that on DVD or Hulu, it's probably something else because of the Disney Plus credits at the end. But for everyone on Disney Plus, 44 minutes and 3 seconds. And we're going to put, and make sure that's what your timestamp says before we push play. Season 3, episode 12 again. Remember, New York City Serenade. That's what it's called. We're going to push play in 3, 2, 1, now. 1 year ago. This is just after the curse was cast, and we went back to the camp. And Prince Philip is riding on his horse. We haven't seen these two since the beginning of the season 3. Bum 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 bum. Just beating to the music. Bum 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 bum. Warren Phillip. It's been forever since we saw these two. Curse is coming. Take shelter! Don't worry, the curse is not going to wipe you away to another land. It's just bringing characters back. Too late. Curse has already touched you. Everyone's back. Not only that, they came back to the Enchant Forest, but the curse undid everything, up to the clothes. Snow White's back in her pregnancy dress when she was giving birth to Emma, and Charming. You saw his the 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 thumbnail of Once Upon a Time is New York, but if you saw Charming, he still was wearing the white shirt with blood stains on it because if you remember in the pilot, he got stabbed right before the curse was cast, and because of the curse, he got put in a coma. The curse kind of saved his life because otherwise he would have died for real if it weren't for Regina's curse. So so Charming, he's not stabbed, thank goodness. They didn't go as far as him being dead, but it went so back. It went so back to reset to the point where he has bloodstains on his Charming outfit. He really needs to get changed into better princely clothes. I know you're probably like, why does that matter? It doesn't. Just enough. Emma's on a date with Walsh, a guy named Walsh. Remember, she was a Bell's Bonds person. Last time we saw her and Henry went to find her, she was a Bell's Bonds person catching bad guys. This is different. This is her going on a date and possibly marrying somebody. Yeah, he's gonna propose. That's gonna create complications. She's definitely not gonna wanna go back even if she did remember who she was, she would not go back to Storybrooke if she's about to get married. She thought that was Watch, and it's Hook. She said the same thing to Henry when Henry was trying to bring her to Storybrooke. Just because you believe in something like fairy tales doesn't make it real. And then Henry goes, "That's exactly what makes it real. You should know more than anyone because you're in this book." Henry was being the believer, trying to get Emma to believe, and now it's Hook doing the same thing. Can you get the hint right now that Emma and Hook are technically going to be the shipping of the show? They're going to be together. They set it up on purpose. Get ready to say goodbye to Neil. Let me just tell you that. I told you this love triangle is not going to last. I know you're probably upset with me because you hate me talking about that, and I said I wasn't going to spoil that. I'm not spoiling. I'm just saying it's a good setup. If Emma was going to end up with Neil, Neil would have been the one trying to convince Emma to believe in fairy tales again, not Hook. Mhm. So you see, Charming has a blood stain because he was stabbed before the curse was cast. So because the Charming and Snow's castle's destroyed, they're gonna take back the Queen's castle instead. And luckily, the evil Queen's not evil anymore, so she doesn't have too much of a problem with that. We had the evil Queen back. She would have not let them take that would not be good. She wouldn't let them take over the castle. She's been redeemed now, though. Everyone's making haste for Regina's castle. Makes you wonder what happened over the past year, and that's what this second half of the season is gonna explore. Tell her who's her. You guys should already know from the special we watched, Wicked. Who's Wicked? Who's her? Who's green? Who wears a pointy hat? Who flies a broom? Hey, it is a Halloween season. If you're dressing up as a Wicked Witch for Halloween, perfect time to be watching their marathon. And also, Wicked Part 2 is coming out in November, which we will not be in Wicked season by then. It will end after Halloween. So, yeah, if only Wicked Part 2 was coming out in October, it would have been perfect as perf. That's not a word. That's not a saying. You were nervous and then you were full. Uh, last time Emma had, and the last time Emma had someone propose to her was Henry's father. She hasn't She didn't even marry Henry's father, actually. She was only just living with him and gave birth to and, before going to jail for all the watches Neil stole, she gave birth to Henry, or she got pregnant with Henry. So this is actually her first time getting proposed. You had leftovers in your fridge for longer than 8 months? What? You had food longer than your relationship. I mean, that's bad if your relationship was only a couple weeks. I have seen people who meet someone and get married in 6 months. I'm it's within the church too, so it's not something I'm offended against. So the fact that he said 8 months makes it a safe relationship, but not the safe food. The food's been there longer than her relationship with Walsh, which is saying something. Her food's been there for like what, a year? That's disgusting. Probably Wash saved their life for sure for throwing out that food. Never keep leftovers that long, guys. They expire. Hey, forget about the Hook and Neil love triangle. What do you think of Emma and Walsh? Do you think Walsh is a good guy? He's willing to wait until they're 65 to get married. He's not trying to pressure Emma. He's being pretty nice. He's a really nice guy. You think Emma should just avoid the triangle altogether and just marry Walsh? Or do you think she would be better off with a fairy tale character like Bellfire or Hook? Look, one year can really hit puberty on a kid. Henry looks a lot different and more manny than he an episode ago. Episode ago, because again, Wonderland was a series, so and Once Upon a Time Special was a special, not an episode of the series. Oh, playing video games, huh? The writing was in the dessert. That's one way to propose. Instead of on one knee, put in the dessert. I'll put in the chocolate. Will you marry me, sweetheart? Chocolate. It is big stuff. It's a big decision to marry someone. For Henry, now, okay, Henry already has a dad. His name is Neil, and he's fine. But remember, they forgot about fairy tales in their life in Storybrooke. So according to Henry, Neil just left Emma in jail, and he hasn't had a father since. And yeah, see, hmm see, you have to remember that before Storybrooke, before the curse, all Emma knew is that Neil abandoned her. She didn't find this out until after Storybrooke, after the curse was broken. So the fact that she lost her memories of season 1 and 2, you have to remember, what life was like before the pilot. She thought Neil abandoned her. So, by keeping Henry instead of abandoning him, she would have told Henry. She would have told Henry, that his father left her, to pay for his crimes. Which, on the surface seems like a bad father. But, you know, I it was but the real reason. Neil left because, she was destined to break a curse. He made the right choice, it just seemed wrong because they don't believe in fairy tales. So, right and wrong, choosing the wrong is a little different once you believe in fairy tales. Sometimes you do make the toughest decisions for a noble cause, like breaking a curse. Once they get their memories back, then they won't think of Henry's dad as a bad guy. But like I said, you gotta remember how things were before fairy tales came into their life. So, and Henry so according to Henry, he hasn't been with a father all his life, and we know that's not true. But, according to his fake memories, he hasn't had a father in his life, and he needs one. Washington would be a great father, in my opinion, actually, but It would ruin the show if Emma ended up marrying him. Let me just say that. So I don't root for them, but I think he would have been a great husband, not knowing the rest of the show and how it plays out. But having now seen the whole show, I'm glad he does. She doesn't marry Walsh, and you'll see why as we continue our marathon. Hook and Neil are better options. It ruins the plot if she doesn't stick with them. Again, you gave them their best chance again by abandoning them again. Except Emma didn't abandon Henry this time. Originally, she abandoned Henry. Her cursed memory, make it otherwise. Oh yeah, Henry, you don't want to miss your school field trip. Turn in your slips. I remember those. I would be like, Mom has a hard time remembering things. So I'm like, Mom, did you sign that permission slip? Please hurry, sign it so I can go on this field trip. Mhm. Walsh is a good guy, guys. But it would ruin for what's going to happen in the show if Emma sticks with him. So, if we want to keep the show as it is, no, do not marry the guy. We got a better storyline for you, Emma. Walsh is just a forgotten character. It doesn't need to be on the show after this episode. Walsh is a good guy, so outside of the show, you can marry him. And welcome to Neil's apartment, who we haven't seen since season 2. Not Neil, the apartment. Dream catchers. They can take memories, and you can put your memories in them. That's one way to take someone's memories without a curse, is use a dream catcher. Yep, Emma remembers Neil, but as only the bad person in her life. So remember, okay, in both realities, in fairy tale world, Henry did actually still grow up without a father. And, in season 2, when they went to find Rumpel's son, that again another big plot twist of the show was Rumpel's son was Henry's father, you know. But the difference between fairy tale Henry and real world Henry is that, at least fairy tale Henry didn't knew that his father wasn't a bad guy. He made the right choice in the end. And he got to spend time with his father for a few episodes before he got captured to Neverland. And so anyway, so yes, I was wrong. Even fairy tale Henry grew up without a father, but he had some time with his father versus real world Henry didn't have any time with his father whatsoever because he was a bad guy in the real world. See, that's what I was trying to explain. Remember, they went to New York to find Rumpel's son, and he must have left that camera in there. However, it still didn't jog Emma's memories. She's still doubting herself like an adult. Child would easily believe that. You should show Henry the camera, and then Henry might believe. Uh huh. Yeah, Hook's going to jail. Welcome to the real world. If you walk to someone trying to talk all fairy tale nonsense, they're gonna lock you. They're gonna call the police and lock you away for eavesdropping on their personal life. Hook's going to jail for insulting Emma. That's not a great. If someone okay, there is a way this happens in real life. If some girlfriend or your wife has amnesia and doesn't remember you, kissing her is not going to help that. There, she's going to think you're insulting her. Best way to heal amnesia is not to kiss her to jog her memory. That's a bad idea. Yeah, and Emma's taking a long time trying to believe. Unlike last time, though, it took her a whole season to believe in fairy tales. If you don't want to go through all that again, well, don't worry. She doesn't spend the entire rest of the season unbelieving in fairy tales. Because we've already lived through that in season one, it gets sped up in one episode. You'll find at the end of this episode, the curse won't break, but she'll remember if being the savior again. Regina's taking her own heart out. She's bearing it. She can't bear to feel love again after losing Henry. Bury it in the woods. Exactly. Yeah. Remember what happened to your mother, Cora? As soon as she took her heart out, she wasn't the same person. That is sad to have your child not remember who you are as a mother. Your child doesn't remember you're their mother. With that. Yeah, Regina. Happiness. I know the show too well, guys. I knew she was gonna say happiness. Yep. All Henry wanted you to find was happiness, Regina. Keep your heart. Believe in love again. You will find love again. Remember the stable boy? The one with the lion tattoo that Tinkerbell showed you? Remember, he's in the Enchant Forest with his merry men. You have it now that the curse has brought you back to the Enchant Forest, you have a chance to fall in love with him. Because you're not in Storybrooke anymore. You can fall in love with him. Fall in love with Robin Hood. Your soulmate. He can't replace Henry, but you can at least you'll feel love again. The flying monkey. There's only one show that has flying monkeys. We're not in Kansas anymore. We're not in Storybrooke anymore. We're in well, we're not even in Oz, but something from Oz is here. We're in the Enchanted Forest dealing with something wicked from Oz. Dorothy should drop her house in the Enchanted Forest, and I like to see her try to defeat the evil queen. A bucket of water is not going to kill her, though. Um, let's see. Who's the most powerful person? Rumple. I'm off to see Rumple, the wonderful Rumple of Enchanted Forest. Because there's no Wizard of Enchanted Forest. There's only Wizard of Oz. So if Dorothy came to the Enchanted Forest, she'd probably go to Rumpelstiltskin to make a deal with him to get back to Kansas. Unfortunately, magic comes with a price, so Dorothy would have to pay the price to get those slippers and go back home. Robin and his merry men missed a lot. Last time they didn't get cursed. Yeah. Since Robin, again, like Cora and Mulan and Aurora, since Robin never got swept away from the curse, a lot has happened. Regina's not evil anymore. Snow and Charming are grandparents. A lot has happened since you were in the Enchanted Forest for 30 years. 28 to be exact. Kind of 30 years, because even after the curse was broken, they were like in Storybrooke for probably another year or so before they went back with Pan's curse. I mean, Henry was 10 and now he's 12 because he was 11 and he turned 11 in season 2, and then we just had a year jump. So it's been 2 years since the curse broke, I guess, in the show. Avery's. Oh, I want to meet Henry's neighbors. Look, it's pictures of Emma and Storybrooke, and she doesn't remember any of it. Oh, they didn't show it. Dang it, I ruined. Sorry. Baloney means you're a crazy guy. Fuck. You never. Hook doesn't even know what Photoshop is. He's not from this world. Baloney means you're a bad guy. Photoshop means you fake the photo. Okay? Hook doesn't know real world terms. A memory potion. Or no, walking across the town line to forget yourself. That's how you forgot all of it. I bet you're wondering, how did Hook get to New York? How is he not how is he not well, that hasn't happened yet. Never mind. Um but I can say this without spoiling. How did Hook get to New York, and how did he get that potion? Again, flashbacks for the rest of the season are going to be about what happened during that 1 year. So no more before curse pilot episode flashbacks. We're gonna We have a whole new set of flashbacks that take place after episode 11 of season 3, but before episode 12. She drank the potion. See, I told you. Now they cheated a little. They used the memory potion. But I told you it wasn't going to take a whole season for her to remember again. She believes in fairy tales. It only took, wow, 30 minutes. And there's 10 minutes left of the episode. Oh my goodness, excuse me. My voice is getting tired, guys. I believe I've been talking too much. Hmm, nope. He's with his mother. Yeah. Remember Robin Hood not too long ago helped Neil get to Neverland. And so he's like, well, where's Henry? Where's the boy you meant to save? And he's like, oh, it's complicated, but he's with his mother. Robin Hood, you're missing a lot. Become part of this cast. Become a main character. You're missing a lot. I don't know what's been going on besides Regina's redemption arc and the curse. You can trust Robin. I'm pretty sure you could say the same thing. Robin Hood has been through a lot while you guys left the Enchanted Forest for 28 years. I'm pretty sure he changed too. He's no longer a thief. Regina is still kind of stubborn, but she's no longer evil anymore, so don't worry. Yeah. No one needs to suffer for it. We're not going to kill the whoever's in there. We're going to we're going to fight for our castle, but we're going to do it righteously. Hmm, true. The only reason Hook joined the heroes was because of Emma. Without Emma in the picture, he has no purpose to be with the Charmings or Regina or Belle or Neil. Yeah, Emma, you're the savior. You figure it out. Who cursed everyone back to Storybrooke? Just a few minutes ago, you were a mother. Hmm. I feel you, Emma. Just 30 minutes ago, she was just living the normal life, and then Hook showed up at her door poking holes into her past. Now it's different. Oh, guys, bad news. If you're sick of Emma believing in fairy tales, that's good. She remembers she drank the potion Hook gave her, but he doesn't have enough potion for Henry. So guess what we get to spend the rest of the season doing? Convincing Henry that fairy tales are real. It's much easier to convince a child to believe in fairy tales than it is to make an adult. Like, you can walk to a 30-year-old and they probably will never believe in Santa Claus. But you walk to a 10-year-old and they probably already believe in Santa Claus and they probably still would. It's much easier to get a child to believe than it is to get an adult. But yet Henry doesn't believe till the end of the season, and he's almost a teenager now, so he's not really a little kid like he was in season one. So it's gonna be hard to get him to believe. Otherwise, that could have been done in one episode too. And unfortunately, they already scheduled a date before she drank the potion, so now they have to deal with Walsh. Emma doesn't want to break up the engagement. She wants to marry him, but Storybrooke and her fairy tales come first, which normally is not the case, but in this show it is. She has a curse to break. She's the savior. You know, it's part of her job, her fairy tale job. What? Walsh just said, I wish you haven't drank that potion. Walsh is a fairy tale character. Emma wouldn't just be dating any random guy from the real world. She's always dating a fairy tale character. First Neil, now Walsh. Okay, I lied. I said Walsh was a great guy. I encouraged you to ship for him, but I also did say that it would ruin the rest of the plot if Emma stayed with him. But that doesn't change the fact I said he was a good person. If fairy tales weren't real in the show, I did say he was a good person for Emma to marry. If fairy tales weren't real. But I'm wrong. He tried to attack Emma as soon as she said no, and turned into a monkey, and then Emma defeated him. I'm not gonna spoil his character, but he will come back in the show. You'll find out what fairy tale character he is. Walsh is. So put it in your notes or something. Write down Walsh, and when he makes a cameo appearance a few episodes from now, sometime next week or the week after, you'll remember him, the guy who dated Emma. Okay. Well, now that we took care of him, Emma has her memories back. It's time to get back to Storybrooke. This episode's almost over, and we haven't even seen Storybrooke yet. We watched a recap episode, remember? We only have one episode left before our night ends, and we still haven't seen Storybrooke yet. Henry still believes in the. So Henry is almost a teenager. He's 12, and he still believes in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. So see, so I guess I was mistaken. Henry is, even though he's almost a teenager, he still can believe in fairy tales. Oh, he said no. Henry doesn't know though that she said that saying no is the right choice. He's like, he's like, dang it, I could have had him as a father, but like, well, at least Emma's happy. I'm glad he's in good spirits. It's not a vacation. Sold. So he, yeah, yeah. Hook is like being the bodyguard. Henry's like, "Why do you look like a pirate? It's not Halloween." I guess it is kind of Halloween for us, but not when this episode aired. This episode aired in the spring of 2014, to be exact. Oh, her famous red leather jacket that we haven't seen since the first season. You guys remember the red leather jacket? It's famous for her. If you're dressing up for Emma for Halloween, that's important to wear. We're finally back in Storybrooke when there's only like 5 minutes, 3 minutes left. We'll get a lot of Storybrooke in the next episode, in which we're watching tonight. So we get at least one big Storybrooke episode. Don't worry, but because we're back into our Once Upon a Time show, we're gonna get a lot more Storybrooke from here on out. No more waiting on the big town to reveal. It's as cursed as Emma remembers. Last time she was here, it wasn't cursed though. You don't want to wear that hook when Henry's awake. He's gonna think you're crazy. Last time it took everyone's memories. What did it do this time? What did the curse do this time? Huh. It's nice to be back in Storybrooke. Henry gets it's nice for Henry to miss school right at the last minute. Imagine you're not planning on a vacation and then your parents wake you up one morning and say, "We're going on vacation." What? I didn't get to tell my teachers or that's, it's a surprise vacation, but little does Henry know that they're going to live there for the rest of the show. They're not vacationing there. Just wait until they break the curse. So, if you were worried about everyone forgetting who they are, they're not forgetting who they are. We're not doing that again. Yes, they know who they are. Year. Because Snow White, yeah, Snow White's pregnant. And fun fact, Jennifer Goodwin was pregnant in real life during the filming of this episode. So instead of hiding her pregnancy, they decided to put it in the show. Have her be pregnant because she did say in Neverland that she wanted to have another baby that she can raise and watch her first steps, or it could be a he. Sorry, watch its first steps and its first smile. And not miss it like they did with Emma. No offense, Emma's always gonna be their child, but they don't want to replace her. They want to just have another one. Now that's coming true. No wonder they need a year gap because it takes 9 months to get a baby and it's almost due now. So no wonder they did a year jump, right? Meet our new villain of the season, Wicked. Wicked always wins. Somewhere over the rainbow to Oz. Okay, that's our arc, guys. We're heading to Oz. Wicked Witch. I told you she'd be revealed within the first episode. Sadly, it's the cliffhanger, but she's revealed. All right, we'll still the next episode. But pause it. I won't talk much in between. We're going to start right away. Just give me a second. Make sure if you're pushing play on the episode, you stop it and rewind. There should be 44 minutes and 8 seconds. But anyway, so what an episode. It was mostly New York. We didn't quite see Storybrooke until the end. In fact, the only thing we saw was Main Street and the clock tower. And then Emma went to go see her parents, and that was it. We didn't get to see the rest of the town. Now, if you remember last week when we were finishing up Wonderland, we did get an episode where Alice and Cyrus went to Storybrooke. So we did see Storybrooke last week. But regardless, we saw Storybrooke or not, that was a different show. We haven't seen Storybrooke in Once Upon a Time in over 6 weeks. 6 weeks because 4 weeks of Wonderland, but we skipped a week for my devotional, and so that's five, and then another week from when we finished the end of the first half of season three. So yes, it has been officially 6 weeks since we watched this show. It's great to be back. I forgot. I actually accidentally forgot we were not going to see Storybrooke for most of the night because this episode we had to watch the recap special, but also this episode was mostly a setup for the second half of the season. We didn't get a lot of action because it was more of the setup. Took Emma the whole episode to believe in fairy tales again, and then finally get to Storybrooke. Unfortunately, Henry doesn't believe in fairy tales, but hey, we're in Storybrooke now. We're about to get the Once Upon a Time magic back. So anyway, luckily we have one more episode to watch, so we're gonna get a lot of more Storybrooke tonight in this episode. But don't worry, next week the Storybrooke will be in every single episode. So never have to worry about leaving Storybrooke for so long again, especially since there's no more spin-offs. Wonderland was the only one. We're sticking to this show until the very end now. Oh, okay. So, flashback wise, everyone just barely came back to the Enchant Forest from Pan's curse, and they were heading to Regina's castle only to find out that there's a protection spell around it. So, last we left where we left off last, they had to find a way to break the protection spell. We not them, but we as an audience found out the person who's guarding the Queen's palace is the Wicked Witch. And, and the witch, she actually says, Wicked always wins. Do you believe that's actually true? Do you believe, hashtag if you believe Wicked always wins, do you believe that the Wicked Witch is actually going to win and the heroes will not defeat her? Do you believe Wicked is going to win? Do you believe that's true? Do you believe Wicked always wins? If so, hashtag Wicked always wins. Now, I know you're used to good versus evil, but this season's a little different now. So instead of good versus evil, you're soon going to find that the Wicked Witch has a huge grudge against Regina. And, so it's less, and even though Regina's a hero now, she was still the evil queen at one point. And so, not to take this seriously, but as a little joke, we're doing a new battle here called Wicked versus Evil. Which side are you on? There's no good, there's no righteous, there's no Christ-like light. There's only wicked and evil. Which side are you on? Pick a side. Hashtag Wicked versus Evil below. Also, hashtag Wicked is coming. It just arrived. Wicked Witch just revealed herself at the end of the episode. And then hashtag Once Wicked. Once you're wicked, you're always wicked. Just kidding. Okay, next episode, we're going to start it right now. Sorry. Oh, man, I never keep my promises of not talking in between episodes. Okay, let's just start it. By the time we finish this episode, it will be 9:25. So we're not gonna have time for Q&A. Luckily, no one sends comments anyway, because I'm not as popular as I want to be. Okay. Previously on Once Upon a Time. Here we go. Oh, sorry, I did not give you a countdown. I'm gonna rewind that. Sorry, I did push play, but I'm gonna rewind it. Okay. So 44 minutes and 8 seconds. Okay, everyone got that? 44 minutes and 8 seconds for Disney Plus only. Hulu, it's something else. Just make sure you didn't play a single second on your episode. We're gonna push play. Sorry, I didn't. I like giving you a second countdown. Ready? 3. Okay, has everyone rewinded? I know I already started the episode, but I forgot to do a countdown, so I'm restarting. 3, 2, 1, now. Can't believe I forgot that simple thing. I just wanted to get into the episode. I probably should have just kept it playing. Now we wasted another minute. We're not going to be done quite right at 8:25. It's going to be like 8:26 then. But I'm wicked. And wicked always wins. Ha 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 ha. That's the evil queen's dress. It fits better on the Wicked Witch, though. Mhm. Red Riding Hood, we haven't seen her forever. I mean, she was in season 2 a lot, but we got distracted with Neverland and haven't seen her at all in season 3, I don't think. Mhm. Mm, mm. See, Regina's actually a good person. Uh-huh. She has a soft spot for children. Robin has a new shine towards Regina because he saved Roland's life. Now he owes her a debt. Save Regina's life now. Yeah, because you're pregnant and your baby's about to be due. You're like days away from giving birth. You did leave Storybrooke. It was a year. Yep, Snow has done that before, sending love letters to Snow and Charming when they were separated. Wow. A lot's going on in the town. It's not just the memories. People have been disappearing. People keep disappearing one by one. That's not good. There has been a lot of confusion. Leroy, be nice. That's Emma's ex love. Hook is even willing to help find Neil, even though he has a love for Emma. Don't worry, the love triangle's not coming back. We're done with that. Yep. Now, according to the signs, because Hook didn't get cursed, he escaped the curse before it could curse him. So he's the only one that does remember, but because he went his separate ways, he can't recall everything that happened. Mhm. And that's Oz. Oz. That's a real place. So did Dorothy landed there. Dorothy's a fairy tale. Oz is real. Yes. The Wicked Witch of the West. Yeah, both of them were wicked. The Wicked Witch of the East, died because of Dorothy's house, and then you got Wicked Witch of the West, who's a lot worse. Who Dorothy melted with water. Regina's never met the Wicked Witch. So why does the Wicked Witch have to do with her? Snow White can trust her. She's not evil anymore. You can trust Regina. I wouldn't. Don't worry about her. Robin is probably concerned though because he's not. He hasn't seen her redemption arc. There's Red again, trying to pretend like he doesn't know Henry. She doesn't know Henry because Henry doesn't have her memories. Wow, it's hard to lie to Henry, like literally. Yeah, lying to Henry is not the best option. And there's Regina. Oh, Regina's like, "That's my son. I want to hug him." Well, he doesn't remember you, Regina. No, no, not really. Just use your superpower on everyone. Do you guys really think Regina was the one who cast the curse? Come on. After so much redemption, do you think Regina's throwing it all away to cast the curse? I don't think so. I think it's obvious. We have a new villain, but I would ask you to think again if you think it's the Wicked Witch. It seems obvious because that's what the plot is gearing towards, but she may be the villain of the season. That just makes her the responsible woman for all the sins that happen in this show, for all the evil things that go on. But I won't say anything because I'm not going to spoil for you for anyone new watching. If you're in case you're confused, we're in Storybrooke. Robin and his merry men are looking for dinner, even though they can go to Granny's. Hey, they're almost across the town line. Hey, 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 hey! No. Okay. Something about Once Upon a Time is they always change their town lines after season three. Start season three. The town line after the season 1 curse was broken originally made you forget who you were all over again. Now the town line doesn't make you forget who you are. You just get turned into monkeys or get taken or you disappear like everyone else. Every time when someone leaves town, they get taken away by a monkey. Charming's like as her father. Wait, you were gonna marry someone and I without me, without my blessing? What? That's funny. Mhm. Talk to everybody. Wow, Emma hasn't acted like a sheriff since season 1. Mhm. Regina's like, I know where you're going with this. Just because Regina did it the first time doesn't make her do it. Doesn't mean she did it the second time. Kind it puts her. Even Dr. Wells doesn't believe you. Oh no. Oh no, everyone's against Regina. It is easy to paint her as a victim because she did cast the last curse, and so that does make her guilty as charged for the second curse. No, Regina, don't be the evil queen. Earthquake! No. Yeah, that's what happens when you be evil for so long. It's hard for people to forgive you, even after you repented. So, consequences of being evil is that it's hard for people to accept you as a good person after you repent. So that's why you should never be evil in the first place. Mhm. For saving Robin's child, Robin wants to return the favor and save yours. He steps out of the way as she says that. Yep. Robin doesn't want to get in her way. Let's find out who really curses. See, Emma knows it's not Regina. It was just a scene to make the audience, to make the town think it was her. So then that way, people don't think that Emma's working with Regina. Emma's using her superpower on Regina. She knows Regina didn't do it. She didn't cast the curse. It's not some super genius plan. She really didn't do it. Exactly. Remember, you promised Regina you wouldn't get in her way. Step in between. Regina. I don't think Robin Hood's joking. He really doesn't want you to put her in a trap. Put him in a trap. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to die. Don't lead him into a trap. Remember? Do you remember? Have you? Yeah, I did tell you about blood magic. Do you remember blood magic? It's where you use your blood or something. It's a magic that only people in your family can open. Like if you put a protection spell, it can only be undone by someone with who of your blood. Blood magic is family magic. And so she sealed it with blood lock, and only her ancestors or only her descent can open it. Only her descendants can open it. And so the Wicked Witch, she must be a descendant of Regina, right? How are they related? We're gonna find out. Remember the plot twist about how Peter Pan became Henry's father? I mean, how Peter Pan became Rumple's father? The biggest plot twist of this season. I'm not gonna say it, but it's actually early on. Peter Pan's being Rumple's father took almost the entire arc. It was towards the end we found that out. But the secret between the Regina and the Wicked Witch, it's something that's gonna be let out like tonight. It's the reason why they don't hype up this secret until the end of the season is because because it's small compared to where the rest of this plot is heading. So just trust me. There's a reason why we're getting answers right now instead of in the coming weeks. Henry's not paying attention. He's playing his video game. Hmm. Who's this, guys? Who is this, guys? Do you even know who she is? Do you recognize her? I don't think this is a midwife. I don't think this is a midwife. This looks so familiar to a character we've already been introduced to in the past. I'm not gonna say it. You probably would recognize her if she changed the color of her skin. All right. Trying to figure out what happened to Little John. Robin's former merry men that disappeared. You gotta take him to a hospital. Mhm. No, we're not putting the Wicked Witch under a sleeping curse. She's the villain of the season. We can't have her sleep during it. During her, s- during her during her what is it called? During the lights or during the starlight or no, during the star of the show. Yeah, okay. Forget it. I don't know what I'm saying. The spotlight. That's what I was gonna say. It's Zelena's time to steal this. It's the Zelena. Oh my goodness, I spoiled it. It's the Wicked Witch's time to steal the spotlight for the as the antagonist for this half of the season. We can't have her sleep during it. That's what I was gonna say. Sorry. Like literally close if you go under a sleeping curse. Don't give up, Regina. Henry. Yep. But Henry's not in the Enchanted Forest. Mhm. See, Regina's not evil. She's good now. She's gonna lower the protection spell first. But then if she goes to sleep, Henry's not gonna be able to wake her up because she's in the Champ Forest and he's stuck in the real world. I mean, little do they know they come back to the Storybrooke a year later, but still, if we would have been introduced to the flashbacks before the present day, we would be like, "No, Regina, don't go to sleep. You could be asleep forever." But then we couldn't have the rest of the show. It did not work. It didn't. The wall didn't do anything to you in the past year. But yeah, we wouldn't have a show without people being in Storybrooke. So we need people in Storybrooke until the show's over. Oh yeah. Guys, give Regina slack. She's not evil. And look who's listening to this. If they remember, we'll know exactly who did this to us. As Zelena walks out of the room, she did introduce herself to Snow White, so you know her name is Zelena. Anyway, and she walks out the room being like, "Oh no, I can't have them find out. They're gonna kill me if they find out." But like I said before, just because the Wicked Witch seems to be the villain of the season doesn't mean she's the one who did every single bad deed, like cast the curse. I'm hinting that it's not her who casted it. That that'd be too easy. The plot's a little more trickier than that. Now that we're further into the show, it's not as simple as season 1 and 2. Things are more complicated. Dr. Wells, we haven't seen him since season 2, I don't think. Looks like little John turned into a monkey. Little John turned into a monkey. A monkey. Yeah, doctor, not a pet. Yeah, Will is a doctor, not a pet. Frankenstein, I should say, Vector Frankenstein. That's his fairy tale name. Doctor Frankenstein. Being Bell's Bonds person seems boring because a lot of times you just have to do stakeouts and wait until the person walks in. Boring. Yeah, just sitting there. Mhm. Yeah, Emma. Okay, the Wicked Witch is in there now. But if they were still perking, I bet Emma was gonna say, "I can't imagine what you feel right now, Regina. That must be hard. Not, Henry doesn't know you're her mother, and." You can't tell him that that he's your son. It's kind of hard because Emma and Regina they share Henry. Remember, adopted mom, biological mom. Anyway, there's a good witch. Ha! She broke through blood magic again. No matter how powerful they are. Exactly. Yeah, someone who could break through family blood, family bond. You should know that Regina and the Wicked Witch are related because there's no way she would have broken Regina's uh, fam genetic family spell unless she was related. Blood magic. Regina's taking down the protection spell so that Snow and Charming can march into the castle. Everyone's marching into the castle. I think the Wicked Witch will be long gone by the time you get there. Just saying. Mm. Wicked Witch and Regina meet for the first time. Exactly who you are. The Wicked Witch of the West of Oz. That's all. Not interested. You never should have left Oz and the Wizard and Dorothy. Go back to the movie and musical you belong to. Go back to being Elphaba. We don't need you in Once Upon a Time. Just kidding. How did you break the blood moon lock? Cora. Cora never told you what? Cora, Regina's mother, what does she have to do with this? Plot plot twist. Unlike last time, we didn't have to spend 8 episodes to find out. Only two in. Half sister. So they're not fully biologically related. They're only half biological. Same mother, different fathers. So Regina has a sister. Did you see that coming? I bet you didn't. How are they sisters? They have two different colors of skin, not to be racist here. You're married. How are you related? It will be explained in this season how Selena's related to Regina, even though she has green skin and she has white. Selena knows Rumpelstiltskin too. You knew Cora and Rumple. Selena should have been on the show a long time ago, since the beginning. Rumpel and Cora are both dead. So as far as Zelena's plans to get revenge on them, it's too late. They're all foiled because they're both dead. The only revenge you can do is Regina. Hmm. Regina's already lost everything. Regina, Zelina wants to get revenge on Regina, and it has to be, and it's a fate worse than death. This is what I'm talking about. Evil queen versus wicked witch. She's not evil anymore, but you get the point. Wicked versus evil. Whose side are you on? There's no good. No good. There's only evil and wicked. Sorry. I know. There's no happiness here because wickedness never was happiness, right? No happiness here. It's either evil or wicked. Which side are you on? I know they sound the same, but they're different. Wicked is worse than evil. It's practically the same thing. To destroy. Yes, okay. Regina, I know you're worried about Regina. She's not turning evil. She just hasn't had someone to hate in a long time, ever since she forgave Snow White and became a hero. But now she has someone to hate, and for a good reason too, the Wicked Witch. But I'm pretty sure she doesn't want to kill her. She just wants to stop her. So, yep, there's a library inside the clock tower. Emma's already been there. If only you had your memories, Henry. I go to a town and that's what a mayor says to me. That'd be cool. Henry's really getting treated by these people. If only he knew they were his family. Oh, look at Regina going in for a hug, but because they're strangers, Henry, he can only shake Henry's hand. How tragic. No closeness, no hug. Henry, get your magic back. I mean, get your memories back. You don't have magic. What am I saying? he's Yep, he's playing video games. We can't talk in front of Henry. Yep. The Wizard of Oz. Since the tale of Snow White and Charming, since the pilot, Wizard of Oz is real too. Dorothy's real. The Tin Man's real. We'll see them in the Sark. We'll see everyone from your beloved Wizard of Oz. Eventually. For now, we just get the Wicked Witch, who's not green in Storybrooke because, again, when the last time Storybrooke got cursed, there was no magic until Rumpel brought it. So now there's no magic in Storybrooke right now. So therefore, Zelina doesn't have her green skin. But she does in the past. Rumpel's back from the dead. Talk about resurrection. You know, pretty sure Russell Nilsson might be resurrected by now. I don't know. Probably not. Not no one's computer is rich. It's on you. He's kind of insane. Rumble's insane. He's back from the dead, but he's insane. It's probably like Dr. Frankenstein's brother, but he's not trying to randomly kill everyone. Rumble's back from the dead. That's Screaming in the Night. Okay. I knew that was actually coming all along. I just wanted to kind of surprise y'all. I wanted you to think he was really dead and leaving the show. Well, not really. I did say he was sticking around, but I wanted you to think he was only going to be in flashbacks. Um, he is back for real. So his whole sacrifice. So this is just the start of what I'm saying. You know, they ruin his redemption arc by bringing him back from the dead. And just watch when we're done with this Wizard of Oz arc. Watch him be evil again, and then make another redemption sacrifice, and then be evil again. That's the character of Rumpelstiltskin in the show. It's all about redemption, it's all about a redemption and failing for him. As soon as he redeems, it all gets washed away and wasted. So know that about Rumple from here on out. This is just the first time. So all right. Well, aside from Rumple being back from the dead, Peter Pan. We spent 3 Sundays finding out that he was Rumple's father. That was the big plot twist of the sweet season. Now, I wish I could say that finding out that Regina is Zelina's sister was the biggest plot twist. I wish I could say it wasn't, but it is. I wish I could say it wasn't, but it is. It's kind of hard to watch the rest of the season when you already know the biggest plot twist now. But there are still things that are not as big of a reveal that you don't know. Like, why is Zelina in Storybrooke? What's her plans? What is her ultimate goal? How are Regina and Zelina half siblings? You don't even know Cora's past. We're gonna find more about that. Obviously it's a matter of 2 husbands, right? You make a child with one husband, you make a child with another husband. That's how you get half siblings. But but who are these people that Cora had, sex with, I guess you could say. Anyway, all questions will be answered, and in the most appropriate way possible. And so anyway, and then also, we still didn't get all our answers. We still don't know who cast the curse. You might, you might have an idea that's the Wicked Witch who casted it. It's always usually the villain of the arc, because when Regina was the villain of season 1 and she cast the curse. But Once Upon a Time has a way of twisting their stories up. They wouldn't just repeat the same storyline, which is why no one forgot who they were. They just forgot the previous year. And so anyway, 1 year of your life is better than getting amnesia and forgetting your whole life, right? 1 year is better than all of it. So anyway, yes. So yeah, if you thought this was going to be another boring season of people forgetting who they are, it's not like that at all. Everyone remembers who they are. They just forgot what happened in the last year, and just like the audience, we're finding out piece by piece. What happened. So anyway, we'll know by the end of the season, and when the curse breaks, everything that went on in the past year. It's one way, if you're running out of flashbacks idea, it's one way to add more flashbacks to the show, because Once Upon a Time's known for having flashbacks for every episode, and you can see the writers were running out of flashback ideas because we already have everyone's pretty much origin story, and there's almost no story to tell, so they had to create something like a year gap in order for, first of all, to have Snow get her wish from Neverland, which is to be pregnant and have another child, so they have to do a year jump because it takes 9 months to get pregnant. And then and then you need another year gap to add more flashbacks. So there will be flashbacks later in the show that take place before the original curse. So don't worry, we're not done with those flashbacks, but we're taking a break from them for newer flashbacks that were within the previous year. So yeah, more to come. We haven't seen Neil. We saw him in the special, right? The actor who portrays him, but we haven't seen him in the actual show yet. We did get Rumpelstiltskin back though. So do you think father and son will be reunited again? Who knows? They weren't, when Rumple went to New York to find him in season 2,
They were only together for a few episodes before Neil fell through a portal, and they thought he died the first. When they sorry, um, forget that what I was about to say. And Neil died. Right? We thought he died when he fell in that portal last year or last season. And we find out he's alive. Then he goes to Neverland. They're so focused on finishing Henry that Rumple and his son don't really have time to get along. So anyway, a lot's been happening. They haven't really had a chance to, be a family again. And Neil still has to kind of forgive Rumple for abandoning him. But anyway, there's a lot more coming for this half of the season. Like Adam and Edward said in the special, that this is supposed to feel like 2 different seasons. So it feels like we're at the beginning of a new season, even though we're not. Again, because we're actually not. It's not 22 episodes. It's only 11. So don't worry. We're not going to be stuck in this arc for 8 weeks. It's only going to be 4. I told you ever since we started season 3, it's going to be half season arcs. So the first half was Neverland. Now we're in Oz. We're not really in Oz though. That's the difference. We were really in Neverland. This time we're just dealing with the Wicked Witch. We're not really in Oz, but we are going to get Oz flashbacks. And because the Wicked Witch is our villain, you can consider this the Oz arc. It's the Wizard of Oz, people. So yeah, and make sure you go see Wicked Part 2. If you haven't seen Wicked Part 1, go watch it. It's on Peacock. Go see Wicked Part 2 in theaters in November. That's just a cameo, with where we are in Once Upon a Time. That's just a great cameo to just announce and say, go see Wicked Part 2. It's in a month. So anyway, that will be it for tonight. It is 9:32. We're going to wrap up. There have been no comments on this channel, so I think we're good. That was fun. 3 episodes. Really, we only got through 2 episodes of the actual series, but that's what happens when you have a Once Upon a Time special. No 4 episodes for this half of the season, so don't worry. I got nothing else to say. Have a great night. Next week, we are going to be dealing with Rumple's return from the dead, obviously, and we'll learn more about Neil and the Wicked Witch. So stay tuned for next week for that. And until then, God be with you till we meet again. Again, I hope you had a good conference, everybody. And yeah, as I already said, see ya next week. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but oh well. I want to be done. I hate to delay this marathon any further than it has to be. First, I'm going to end Facebook, but I'm not going to say goodbye twice, so let me say it all at once. And then YouTube, enjoy a few more seconds of awkward silence before I end the stream. While I end Facebook first. All right. Bye, y'all. Until we see more Once Upon a Time. Until next week until we see more Once Upon a Time. Have a great day and week. This is a sign I can't talk anymore. Let's just end this. Bye, y'all. And then for YouTube, see you next week for more Once Upon a Time. That's how I should have said it. Facebook's never going to get that part. Which is why I usually try to say goodbye to everyone at once. But oh well. Bye.